questions in the chat box. If you allow, sir, I can proceed. May I, sir?
Yeah. I'll be glad to answer you.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. They're also evaluating, I think. The first question I'm going to pick is by Sarmishtha Chakravarti. She's asking, sir, you mentioned that blood group O is partially protected from COVID-19. Can you elaborate why it is so?
Yeah. Although it has been established by a research work that 9 to 18% less likelihood of blood group A individuals to COVID-19, but the actual reason for this resistance is yet to be determined. So you are not sure. This is only a statistical analysis report. So most of the individuals who are having blood group A, they are suffering from severely affected by COVID-19. Similarly, those who are having O blood group, they are lesser affected. But it is yet to be understood why this is so. There may be some relationship about the particular genotype related to the RBC antigen. A and B antigens are responsible for giving blood group. So maybe there are some, so to say, relationship of the AB antigens with the COVID-19 antigen. So this is yet to be established. These are only assumptions.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Again, the Sarmishtha Chakravarti is only asking that, is it true that the strain of COVID-19 in India is milder than the strain of the virus in US?
No, it cannot be generalized. As I already shown you the different phylogenetic analysis based on the whole genome sequences. Even within the country, there are a lot of variation in severity of infection. And as I already said that in Maharashtra, in Tamil Nadu, and in Delhi, the severity is more and the mortality is also higher. Say in case of Spain, Italy, and New York City, the mortality was as high as 7.8%. Similarly, in India also, in some pockets in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, it was more than 7%. Although in as a whole in the country, it is less than 2%. In Assam, it is 0.24%. So you cannot say that the overall the circulating virus in India is having less fatality or less morbidity. It cannot be ascertained because there are a lot of different variation in the virus. As I said, that A3I, that particular clade is available only in some parts of the country, not in other parts. But you cannot say or generalize the statement that in India the virus is not having the ability to cause severe infection. You cannot say that.
Yes, thank you, sir. I think you have very nicely answered to these questions. The next question I'm going to pick by Chandana Kolita. She is asking that, good afternoon, sir. Very nice presentation. She's asking that, please tell why A blood group is prone to COVID-19 infection.
As I already said, that this is yet to be determined. This is not yet established beyond doubt. These are only statistical analysis reports.
Thank you, sir. Another question asking by Madhuri Das. She's asking, what is the basic difference between symptomatic and asymptomatic COVID-19 patients?
Okay, this is a good question for a common man.
Yes,
asymptomatic patients will not show any symptom. That means you are getting infected, but you do not know that you are infected because you do not develop any symptom. Normally, symptoms start with a mild fever, then there will be dry cough, and there may be some other symptoms like loss of taste. Then there can be even diarrhea or even vomiting. These are the symptoms most commonly found. But there are many patients who suffer from the disease, but they do not develop symptoms. They are unaware that they are having the disease. But even then, they can spread the infection to susceptible individuals in contact. That is the most important danger. If someone is suffering in a family, asymptomatically, do not develop symptom, unknowingly, he or she can spread to other elderly individuals or those who are having some comorbidity like diabetes, cancer, or other severe disease. And that can be very, very dangerous. So that is why identification of asymptomatic patient is very, very important. When you develop symptom, you may go to the doctor for getting the rapid test or the RT-PCR done. But if you are asymptomatic, you do not cooperate with the authorities, then your positivity cannot be detected. That is why the government of Assam has also insisted on doing mass-scale rapid test. So we should volunteer ourselves to have the rapid test done so that we can identify ourselves whether we are rapid test positive or negative. And it can be, the result can be achieved within 15 days. 15 minutes. I'm sorry, 15 minutes.
Thank you, sir. I think she has got the answer nicely. Next question I'm going to pick by Jhuma Paul. She's asking how plasma therapies work.
Yeah, convalescent plasma therapy, as I referred to, that is those people who suffer from the disease once, if they recover from the disease, as per the norms, after 28 days of negativity in the COVID-19 test done after they suffered, suppose they are hospitalized, they suffered from disease, they were treated and they recovered from that. When they come negative after recovery, 28 days after the negativity for COVID test, they can donate plasma. How this plasma can cure the disease in infected individuals? Because when they suffer from the disease, the immune system in their body will produce a class of protein against the virus. They are called antibodies. And the antibodies are specific for a particular virus. Antibodies which are developed against SARS-CoV-2 can neutralize SARS-CoV-2 virus alone. We may have antibodies against different bacteria or viruses in our body, but they may not be able to neutralize the action of the SARS-CoV-2 virus because these antibodies are highly specific. But when we suffer from the disease or when we get vaccinated against a particular virus, then we develop antibodies against that particular virus. And those individuals who have recovered, they will have large amount of antibodies in their plasma. So if those ready-made plasma with high level of antibodies are injected into the patients suffering from SARS-CoV-2, then immediately the viruses will be neutralized in their blood. And therefore, the infected individuals can get recovery out of it. So in moderately affected individuals or in severely affected individuals, plasma therapy is usually giving a very promising hope of recovery. So the recovered patients should come forward to donate plasma so that many individuals can be protected. On an average, from one individual, recovered individual, 2 patients can be protected. 2 patients can be treated successfully. So that is the use of plasma therapy. Now, yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir is asking that why does SARS-CoV-2 has such a wide range of temperature tolerance?
It is commonly found in all coronaviruses. You see, all coronaviruses have got thermotolerance. And as you know, the common cough and cold caused by coronavirus occurs globally, all throughout the world, even in very cold countries, as well as in countries like India or many other countries having the hot and humid climate. So this is the property of the virus. This is a genetic factor of the virus, which gives the thermotolerance to the virus. All viruses cannot tolerate high temperature, but this virus is having high level of tolerance to temperature.
Thank you, sir. Manitib sir has asked another question. Based on your experience, when do you think the situation will normalize?
Yeah, it is very difficult to answer to this query because nobody can predict correctly when it will be normalized. But our expectations are always high. And there are 2 factors, as I say. Somehow we have to induce protection in the community. So there are 2 ways to achieve this, either through vaccination or through herd immunity, as I already said. So whether herd immunity will come first or vaccination will induce protection first, that is yet to be seen. If we assume that the vaccine will come to Indian market in next 2 to 3 months, I think, as I said, in the first few months, it may not be available for public as a whole, because there will be only few million doses available that may be required for the high risk group of individuals, the health workers and the front runners in the COVID fight. So I think the large scale availability of vaccine will take another 6 months time or so. But in the meantime, if large scale affection occurs in the population, as has been pointed out by some research work based on mathematical modeling, as I have already pointed out, by February, it is expected that more than 12 crore population in the country will be getting necessarily infected by mild or symptomless infection. In that case, automatically, I think when 40% or more individuals will be already having mild infection or asymptomatic infection, the herd immunity will be achieved. And in a very recent report, it has been found that for a disease like COVID-19, probably a 20% proportion of individuals, if they attain immunity by getting exposure or vaccination, we may be able to achieve herd immunity. We may not require 40% or 60% level. Even 20% individuals, if they become immune by vaccination or by exposure, that will give herd immunity to the population. So we expect that maybe by around February or thereafter, we may achieve a success in our fight against COVID-19 in India.
Thank you, sir. There are many more questions, sir. Can I proceed, sir?
Yes, no problem. Time is there.
Sir. Okay, sir. The next question is from Sulagna Gautam, one of the students of our college. She's asking, is there any RNA vaccine approved to be used in case of humans so far?
Yes, already I said that these are all RNA vaccines. Most of the vaccines are based on RNA, either messenger RNA vaccine or the viral RNA modified vaccine. There are some inactivated virus vaccine. There are some recombinant virus vaccines or vector vaccines. All are RNA-based vaccines, but they are already in phase 1 or phase 2 clinical trial. No vaccine has already passed phase 3 clinical trial. Another phase of trial is still remaining. It will take another 2 to 3 months time to complete the entire process of clinical trial. After that, only the vaccine will come to the market. You cannot cut it short. The procedure cannot be cut short. It has to take some time. Even if you that means maximize the process, or that means all the official processes can be rapidly done so that it can get the necessary sanction or the license from the concerned authorities. Even if that is done very hurriedly, I think the vaccine will come to the market only after around 2 to 3 months, because the phase 3 trial is still needed for most of the other vaccines which have already achieved success in phase 1 and phase 2 trial. Yeah, next question.
Next question is by Lily Borule. I think you have answered this. The question is, do you think that the pandemic situation will normalize after September or October, which is very much discussed?
Yeah, already I said that maybe we are hopeful that sooner it will be normalized. But as per my expectations, based on the understanding of the disease, maybe it will take little longer than that, as I already pointed out.
Thank you, sir. Next question is by Tridip Day. Tridip Day, he's asking, sir, is there a second chance of getting infected if a person is being treated once suffering from COVID-19?
Yeah, there has been already some literature telling that in some countries like Spain and Italy, there are some reports of recurrence of the infection in recovered patients within a period of around 35 days. But this has been pointed out by researchers that these are not recurrences, but rather it may represent limited recovery or say inefficient recovery of the patients. Maybe the detection of the virus in the individuals as a negative test was not really true, means incorrect detection was there. That is why they were released from the hospital. Maybe before their actual recovery, they were released from the hospital. So this is a false negative, so to say, test. Because of that, they have to be hospitalized once again within a period of 30 to 35 days. These are not real recurrences, but these are actually, so to say, untreated cases or continued cases of the infection. So far, there has been no report of recurrence of the disease from any part of the globe which has been accepted worldwide. But it is yet to be determined how long a natural infection will give protection to the recovered individual. It is yet to be determined, because only we have crossed around 7 to 8 months time after the first exposure to this disease. If you count the first exposure in December 2019 in China, even after that already we have crossed only 7 months. So those who have suffered from the disease at the beginning in China, they have already covered only 7 months time. If they are not suffering from a recurrent disease within 7 months, that does not mean that in future they will not be suffering. So only time will tell whether recurrence is possible or not. So this is yet to be determined. Only after 1 or 2 years, it will be known clearly whether COVID-19 recurrence is possible or not.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question by Dwarika Chauhan. She's saying that good afternoon, sir. A very informative session. So can you please explain about how the cytokine storm, as you mentioned in your slide, can add to the severity of COVID-19 patient?
Yeah, cytokines are chemical mediators of immune response. So normally, in the normal immune process, they play a very vital role in giving protection against viral or bacterial infection. But in the terminally ill patients in COVID-19, when there is a cytokine storm, means there is a unregulated high level of production of different cytokines that will stimulate the immune system in such a way there will be hyperstimulation or hypersensitivity of the body against the infection. And that will cause lot of tissue damage and also cause blood cell damage, and there will be clogging of the small capillaries due to clotting of blood inside the small capillary of the that means vital organs. And therefore, so cytokine storm at the terminal stage of the patients can be averted, as I said, by use of steroid.
Thank you, sir. Next question by Sanghita Purakashtha. She's asking, for how many days a COVID positive person can spread the disease?
Yeah, as I said, that before development of symptoms even, the infected individuals can spread the disease. 3 to 5 days before development of symptom, they may start spreading the virus. That is already known. Similarly, those who are already infected, during their infectivity, means when they show symptom, they are coughing, sneezing, and can spread the infection to the people all around through their direct contact. That is one. But after they come negative to the rapid test, normally it is considered that they are not going to spread the infection to others. So before they are released from the hospital, always it is ascertained whether they are test negative or not. Unless they test negative by repeated testing, they are not released from the hospital, because otherwise, while they are having symptoms, they will carry the infection and will spread the disease. So normally it takes around 7 to 14 days time. But of course, in some cases, delayed recovery has been reported. After 28 to 35 days also, recovery may be achieved in some cases. In that case, they may remain active till 35 days or so.
Thank you so much, sir. This question is by Sankranti Devi. She's asking, the plasma therapy which is being used against COVID-19 disease, is it possible that plasma from one cured individual, when donated to a freshly infected individual, can act as an antigen for the later person and result in more infection?
It is a common question. That's a good
Sir.
question, of course. But of course, all precautions are taken. Compatibility of the antigens between the donor and the recipient is tested rigorously. There are many different tests conducted in the laboratory before pushing the injection to the recipient. Okay, as that of the blood transfusion process or blood donation process, as you know, all individuals cannot receive blood from all individuals. There is a question of compatibility. So compatibility testing has to be done. Only after doing that, you can transfer the blood from one individual to the other. Here also, before pushing the plasma to a patient, all testing is done to ascertain the compatibility of the antigens between the recipient and the donor, so that no any adverse reaction can occur after transfusion.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next by Champa Mohan. She's asking, is it true that patients who recover from COVID-19 develop kidney and heart problems later on?
No, it is not so. There has been no proven report of recovered patients suffering from any other complication. So far, there has been no scientific report published that those who have recovered suffer from some complications of the vital organs. Of course, if they carried the infection before getting infected from COVID-19, if it is a pre-existing infection of the vital organ, then that can become worse. That is okay. That means when a person suffering from some other diseases, like diseases of vital organs or cancer or say hepatitis or diabetes or asthma, then they may be more severely affected, and coronavirus infection may cause greater damage in such comorbid patients, and occurrence of death is usually more common in such comorbid patients. But if it is not pre-existing, only SARS-CoV-2 cannot induce any damage to the vital organs. It has not been known so far.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this will be the last question of this session by Irina Ahmed. She's asking, what kind of vaccine is Sputnik and how does it work? I think you have told.
Okay, already I have told you that Sputnik vaccine has been designed by Russia, a group of scientists from Russia, and this is expected that this particular vaccine will be coming to market sooner than others. It is claimed that it is having high level of efficacy shown in the phase 1 and phase 2 process, but there are some controversies surrounding this vaccine, and scientists across the globe have high level of doubt about the efficacy of the vaccine, and there are some reports finding that there has been already some report of untoward side effect caused by the vaccine in phase 1 and phase 2 trial. So whether it will be accepted globally as a protective vaccine or not, it is yet to be ascertained.
Thank you, sir. Really, it was a very nice and informative session and interaction. Definitely, the participants benefited with this interaction, and I extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. Prabodh Bora sir, respected Prabodh Bora sir, for such nice session. Thank you so much, sir. And over to Debina ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Brishti. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, yes. Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
I thank sir so much for answering all the queries so wonderfully. And I also thank Dr. Brishti Datta for conducting this session so smoothly. Now,